Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bare Bones Wargaming, a show with no bells, no whistles, no frills, just a man, a camera, and his game. On today's episode, excuse me, I'm going to give you a little update, so to speak, about what's been going on. For those of you who watch my quote-unquote show on a regular basis, I'm sure you're probably looking at this image right now and having a Blackadder moment, being like, hang on, that doesn't look like Pacific War. Well, you are correct. So Pacific War. I started to play it, and as I got into it more, the thought that started to pop into my head repeatedly was, this is Empire of the Sun without cards. Is basically how I felt. And I don't care for Empire of the Sun. So I messed around with some of the scenarios. I tried the engagement, the battle, even part of the shorter campaign scenarios, and I just wasn't having any fun. And quite frankly, I don't think anybody wants to watch anybody do something where they're miserable. That's just weird. There's no other way to put that. So I did the plays of Pacific War, and it just didn't work for me. So I don't feel like I want to post a video on it, simply because it would be better for someone to post a video that has enthusiasm for the game, that would make sure they explain it in proper detail, so they're not forgetting things and stuff like that. So that's why you don't see it. Now, that being said, I do want to say that Pacific War, and for that matter, Empire of the Sun, are just games that fell flat for me. Mark Herman, who designed both, I have a lot of respect for. From what I've seen from interviews he's done, from his comments on the discussion boards, Board Game Geek and Con Sim World, he seems like a really nice guy. Even years ago, when I was thinking about maybe trying to do a career as an analyst and such, when I was working on my master's degree, I contacted him with a few items and stuff, and he offered to help out, look at my resume and things like that. So that was very nice of him, even though I ultimately did not take that path. So what I'm trying to say with all that is this: I don't want to give the wrong impression that Pacific War or even Empire of the Sun are games that are broken or horrible or I hate them. No. What it is it's just not for me. It's not my cup of tea. And I admit, Mark Herman's designs I kind of have a feast or famine relationship with. Some of them I love, like the old Peloponnesian War. I played that thing to death. I have done reviews. I have posted on Board Game Geek reviews and sessions. I absolutely love it. I'm getting the new version because I'm curious to see what improvements have been made. It intrigues me, so I definitely pre-ordered that. I like Pericles. I'm just not into Ancient World right now, so I really haven't messed with it a whole lot at this point in time. And when I used to play set piece battles, I used to like the GBOH stuff. That was lots of fun back in the day. My tastes have shifted since then. So what I'm trying to say is, and not to make this sound like a breakup, but it's not you, it's me when it comes to Mark Herman's designs. Again, don't get the wrong idea. If you're interested in that, period, take a look at those games. They may be for you. They're just not for me. So that's what's up with Pacific War. But another thing that's up with Pacific War also has to do with why it's been a few days since I really kind of posted anything and stuff. And I've been working on, as you can see in front of me, those of you probably recognize the board, especially older crowd among you recognize Flat Top. I've been messing around with that, trying to, quite frankly, create a little bit of a solitaire system, because I do play mostly solo. And, looking at some ideas, picking some things from like Carrier for some other designs, and trying to make kind of like a hybrid, if you will, to create a solitaire system. One of the problems I've run into, though, and it's been extremely frustrating, quite frankly, to be honest with you all, is the size of the counters. And I'm sure those of you who are in the older crew, like I am, and I'm not super old, I'm in my mid-40s, but things are changing, let's put it that way. It's very hard sometimes to read those small counters. It just is. It's tough. You know, and things, you know, things change. I mean, you know, there are a lot worse things in the world, so don't think I'm getting off on a rant here. I'm not looking to have a pity party or anything like that. I'm just explaining the reality of it. It has been frustrating. It's you know, it happens. You know, it's the first thing that's kind of really let me down, so to speak, physically in my life. And it's not drastic. Don't get the wrong idea. I'm not like losing my sight or anything, but it is harder. My eyes get tired more and stuff like that, and it's harder to play long stretches and concentrate. That's why today's games, I really love the fact that most of them are like 5/8 counters or at least 9/16, and the color schemes are better, and it's just nice. But Flat Top's such an awesome game that I still want to play it. And I've discovered in the pages of the General there are some extra scenarios, including a Relief Awake Island, so I definitely want to jump on that. So, what I've been trying to do is design this solitaire system, but also trying to find counters from other games to use as substitutes for some of this. Now, some of this stuff, like on the big board that shows, yeah, right, Dr. Strangelove, right? You'll see the big board. On the big board here, you know, the task force counters and stuff, that's no problem. You know, that's because that's just a number, you know. But searching for the steps and stuff, it's just tough. So I've been trying to not cannibalize, but borrow from some of my other games and trying to create some kind of hybrid system. I'm also looking at acquiring some of the old Smithsonian games, the Guadalcanal and Midway, just to use the counters, quite frankly, you know, for this. I got to find my Coral Sea Solitaire. If you know anything about that game, that was a train wreck of a game. And the counters are nice, so I'm trying to find the counters, figure out where I put that so I can use it. So upshot is that over the last few days, I've been trying to work on this, and it's been a little frustrating. In between the Pacific War and this, I actually played the short scenario posted by a Board Game Geek member, and I can't remember his name. I'm sorry, that's my fault. On Board Game Geek, he has a scenario posted that's basically a short scenario, a Guadalcanal scenario, if you will, for beginners, to teach beginners, as he says, and puts it in his explanation. And I tried that. That was fun. I do agree that it does favor the U.S., but on the other hand, I think it would be interesting if you just pretended that Midway didn't happen and you just went and had 2 extra carriers for Japan. I think that would be interesting. Now, does it throw the balance too far the other direction? I don't know. I haven't actually tried it yet. So, yeah. So, sorry if there's a lot of ums, too. I know they can be annoying, but I don't script this. I just shoot it. I just sit down again. This is just completely raw. And for those of you who might be thinking, you know, why don't I just make my own counters and stuff for things like this? The problem with that is I just don't have the skill, and quite frankly, I don't have the time to do that kind of thing, which is why I'm just trying to beg, borrow, or steal from my other games. So anyway, that's where that's at. I'm trying to see if I can find. Here we go, because I like to give credit where credit's due. The user on Board Game Geek who came up with the short scenario, it's Rod Bauer. So take a look at that, because if you're learning the game, it's great because there's not that many units. You only have to focus on one part of the map. And again, this is just a suggestion. I'm not saying that, you know, I'm just going what he said, that, you know, it kind of favors the U.S., even with the extra optional rules like long lance torpedoes and things like that. It's so maybe, you know, maybe pretending Midway didn't happen and throwing in 2 extra carriers for Japan, 1 extra counter, might be interesting to see how that affects the balance of things. So anyway, I just wanted to give everybody an update because I'm not sure how long this project's going to take. I'm not sure if I'm going to put this on another table I have across the room here and kind of work on this gradually, and then maybe eventually share it with you guys and get your feedback, see what you think of the solitaire system, see if you have suggestions and things like that. I do have my big GMT bundle coming finally tomorrow. Yay! So I might be taking a look at Hitler's Reich too, and maybe I'll go ahead and mess with that and do a video of that. I also have Skies Over the Reich in that bundle, and No Retreat the Polish and French fronts as well. And I'll have some other games coming too, as I mentioned. The Guadalcanal and Midway Smithsonian games, and actually Peaks of the Caucasus is out too, which is a solitaire game about the Axis drive in 1942 into deep into Mother Russia. So that's something also I'll probably take a look at, because I can never get too much Eastern Front and never too much Carrier / Pacific Theater grand strategy games. I just never can get enough of those. And that's kind of like my World War II bread and butter, if you will. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm trying to figure out where I want to go next. It's always frustrating when you're kind of stuck in limbo, and also trying to figure out a way to make this work, because there is such, Flat Top is such a great game. It's an involved game. It's a complex game. Don't get me wrong, but the extra scenarios that again are in the pages of the general. It adds extra things to it, particularly that Relief Awake, because if you don't know what I'm referring to, that's whatever they were trying to get reinforcements and supplies to Wake Island when the Japanese were attacking. This was around the expedition. Critical point of arrival was around the 21st, 23rd of December, between 21st and Christmas, basically. And of course, it didn't happen. It got turned back before. But it's interesting to speculate, because I believe, if I remember correctly, the Hiryu and the Soryu were in the area, but we hadn't concentrated our carriers yet. We had carriers in 3 separate forces. We had the Yorktown under Fletcher, I believe. Halsey had the Enterprise, and he was a little further away. Fletcher was supposed to be getting the relief thing in, and then there was the Lexington too that was also involved in the area as well. And I believe Admiral Brown was the one commanding that one, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, so that's what's going on here at Bare Bones Wargaming headquarters here. And also I'd like to wish a happy 4th of July to all my compatriots. Going to have a little picnic here at the Korchnoi household to celebrate the day. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to kind of get off on our ramble here, but I just wanted to share my thoughts and let you know what's going on, where I'm going. If any of you know of any really good Pacific games that you enjoy a lot, let me know. I have a lot of Pacific Theater games. I have, just looking on my shelf here, I have Across the Pacific, I have Carrier, D-Day at Tarawa, D-Day at Peleliu. I have Islands of the Damned in here somewhere, which I do intend to do a future video on, because that's a great game, terrific game. I have Fires of Midway, which, of course, if you've watched my channel before, you know I have that one. I have Fire in the Sky. I have some other ones too, like S&T issues, like Midway Solitaire, which again I've already done one of. Pacific Fury, Guadalcanal, things of that nature. So, but again, if you have any suggestions, I'm all ears, especially the early part of the war, like 41 to 43, either strategic or operational, like Flat Top. Here it is. So anyway, so as always, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. And again, like I said, I just can't stress this enough. If you're interested in the Pacific Theater, check out Empire of the Sun and check out Pacific War, which apparently is being redone. Maybe the redone version will be more for me. I don't know. I'll have to take a look at the rulebook online. There's Pacific Tide that's supposed to be coming out in September from Compass Games that I'm really looking forward to as well. I have Fleet Commander Nimitz too. I know I was forgetting one. But there's a couple. I have some magazine games too. I just can't remember all the magazine games off the top of my head. I'm just kind of glancing at my shelves here and looking at what I have. But a lot of them are smaller magazine games that I have on the Pacific Theater. So anyway, so check those out. Like I said, they're just not my cup of tea. It's just, not to sound like Austin Powers, but it's just not my bag, baby. So, check that out. So I'll be working on Flat Top. I'll be thinking about other games to work on too and to share with you. Maybe a little bit. So, check back from time to time or subscribe. That would be great, because then when I post a new video, you'll be the first to know about it. So, this is Tim Korchnoi for Bare Bones Wargaming, saying as always, thanks for watching, and I shall return, much like MacArthur, with my solitaire idea for Flat Top to see if it's gonna work. I'll probably mess with it a little bit first and then share with you guys, and then welcome comments and feedback on what's going on with it, and see if we can improve it and make it a good system so that other people can play it solitaire too, who really enjoy it and either don't have the person or don't have the time to play. So, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next episode.